Hello, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxchair, on the show tonight. Is Bridgeman and out, Billy? How we doing, gentlemen?
I'm fine, Ox. How you doing yourself, pal? All right, Bridgeman. Good.
Can I just say, huge good evening to you two guys on the panel here, and to other guys listening in all over the world. Good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
How are you, Bridge?
I'm doing quite well, thank you very much. Very happy. A lovely day today. Very, very nice. Reiki looks like she's doing better as well. So
I might have a story about you later on about one of the Rangers Radio panellists, but I'm getting it cleared to see if I'm allowed to tell it.
Oh, right, okay then. Is it somebody from the northwest of Glasgow?
No, I wouldn't mention any names, so let's just say it involves sex, drugs and rock and roll, mate.
Oh, say no more then, say no more. We'll tell the wife not to burst into the room then.
Oh, dear.
Hey, how are you, Billy?
I am all right now, mate. I'm all right now anyway, pal. I am dried out, as they say.
Right, good.
Dried out.
What a news today, but I think if it's all right with you two gentlemen, I think the press conferences Giovanni will set the tone for the show tonight. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, mate.
Yes, indeed.
So if it's all right with you two, we'll hear from your gaffer Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. We'll hear your thoughts and then we'll get the phone lines open.
Go for it.
Let's hear from our gaffer Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Can you give us an update on your squad and specifically on Aaron Ramsey, when he may return?
Well, we had of course, after the semi-final against Celtic, where Aaron had to come off, unfortunately, with a hamstring problem. We have assessed him this week, and hopefully we will have him back around the Leipzig home game. We had also had a problem with Kamar Roof after the game, so the next day he felt his knee, and for him it's the same. He will be out for some weeks and hopefully also back for me to pick around the Leipzig home game.
Right, so that limits your striking options somewhat then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's of course with Morelos already out, now Kamar out for a couple of weeks. So we have less options up front. But as always, we just have to go on and make sure we embrace the challenge. But I think the atmosphere in the group is good. And we just have to, make sure we pick the best team for every game. But we are very positive. Although we have again some injuries added to the list, I think all the players who are available are capable and know the task which is ahead of us.
Thank you for me. Is this going to be a big opportunity then for Fashion Sakala? And are you confident that he can take on that responsibility with the two other main strikers out?
Well, yeah, of course. It's not as I think he played well in that position the last couple of games. We have limited options up front, but eventually, other players have to stand up and are giving more time to play. And but that's why you have a big squad for moments like this when players are not available. Other players have to step up and show their quality as well.
Of course, you've been a big champion of VAR. It's been introduced, it's going to be introduced after the World Cup in December in Scottish football. Do you think this is a big positive for the game in Scotland?
Well, I think, I'm a big fan of VAR because I think it will help the referees in their decisions. And, I'm really happy that it's coming to the league after the World Cup. So I think after that, it's much easier for referees to take the right decisions in difficult moments. So, yes, I'm very positive with VAR coming.
there's been some talk this week about Alex Lowry and his future, apparent interest from down south. Can you give us an update on his contract situation at all? And we'd like to see more of him going forward until the end of the season.
Well, Alex is, one of the big talents we have coming through from the academy. And, we are in talks, for him to sign a new contract, because I think he will be an important player for the future of this club. So, talks are still, in process. So hopefully we will have positive news in the coming weeks.
Hi, Gio. After that result at the weekend, how much added confidence has that given to the players, given the title run-in and also the Europa League games coming up?
Well, of course, it was a huge boost for us. Very positive to win the semi-final and to be in the final of the cup this year. So that will be our last game of the season, which we can win a trophy. So that's for us that's very good. Of course, a win is always positive for the morale, and so yeah, it was a good week for us. So we were able to rest this week, and to be playing almost twice a week for the whole season. It's very demanding for all of us, but we're looking forward to the last weeks of the season with so many important games.
Of course, the Motherwell game has been moved forward until tomorrow, after you mentioned it last weekend. How happy are you with the fact that everyone did agree to this happening?
Well, I'm very happy about it. Of course, everyone involved in getting the game pushed forward to tomorrow. Of course, Motherwell, the SFA, everyone, the police as well. I think it's good for all of us. So I'm happy that we can play tomorrow, and gives us more time to prepare for the Leipzig game on Thursday. So yes, as I said, very grateful of all the decisions which are made. But I think it's for every club the same. If any club in Scotland will be involved in Europe, I think we all have to do the same and make sure that all the teams get the best preparation for big games in Europe.
You said you only really had half a session with the players ahead of the semi-final, yet the players executed the game plan really well. So does that show you that the coaching and the ethos is really well instilled in the team?
Yeah, well, of course, it's half a session on the pitch, but, of course, there are more ways to prepare a team, also with video. So, it's a short period, but, I think we prepared the players well. They prepared themselves really, really good as well, also mentally, because I think, mentally is a big factor in such a big games in short periods. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the preparations we had last week, and, and we just have to keep going and do the same for all the games who are coming.
Great, and fitness in the squad seems exemplary towards the end of the game on Sunday. There was key players who just did not look as tired as they perhaps should have. So how much has that been a focus for you and your coaching team to really hone those fitness levels?
Well, it's always important. You have to assess the players almost every day, how they feel. Because when you pick your team, there are many factors you weigh in your squad, in your team selection. It can be games ahead. It can be their fitness. It can be the mental state. So for us, it's very important to keep the players fresh and to keep them as optimal for the games which they play. So I think that's not only for this week, it's for the whole season. So we did the same this week, and we're going to pick the best team for tomorrow.
It seems after every big Rangers result, there's an undermining of the referees and the linesmen. Do you think that's kind of reached a pitch where it's actually starting to have a negative effect on the game in Scotland?
Well, I mean, it's a big game. There are many big decisions to be made in the game. And that's will always be a talking point, and not only here, but I think you can see it everywhere, also in the big leagues. But I think that's why VAR is important, because it takes away some of the decisions who are made to help the referees. But I think it shows also the how important the game is, especially when you play in Europe or big games against Celtic in the league or in the cup competitions. But I think there always have to be respect for everyone involved in the game. The players, the referees. So I think it's also football. Football is emotions. People like to talk about the game, but I think to have respect for one another, for the decisions who are made, I think that's the most important thing when you talk about it in papers or in pubs or whatever. But it's also a part of football, talking about it, because it's good because everyone can be a manager, everyone can be a referee, and talking about situations and squad selections and different talking points of game. That's also, I think, the beauty of football. We don't have to take that away because it's a part, but we have to respect when we talk about those issues.
Thanks for that, boys. Thanks for that. Well, the big story, obviously, we're no surprised that Aaron Ramsey's not fit. It was obviously his hamstring, so I suppose there's a positive there that he could be back for the second leg. The Kemar Roof, I saw that on Sunday. It was down at the touchline. There was a coming together in the ball. I think it might for a corner, maybe for us, near just before he went off. And that's a blow for his Bridgeman, eh?
I'm not that sure whether it was the big American boy he ran into.
There was a coming together, mate.
Yeah, he injured himself as well. Although he managed to hurtle on to the end of the game. Yeah, I don't want any other players hurtling on in. He's got to go off. And he's going to be a big miss because his form's been great. He's not bullying, but he's been pressurising defenders. And people are in the team. I know, but I'm not frightened to put the ball into him because that's what he wants. And that's the way he plays. So I dare say the manager's going to come in and bring in or reshuffle something up front.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly bring in young Sakala and let him get a crack at it. I dare say that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Billy Kemar Roof in arguably his best 3 games for Rangers in a row. Hat-trick. Scored 3 against, obviously, Braga, 2 chopped off for the bar. And then has a real good game leading the line. Something that I was a bit sceptical if he could do it in the semi-final there.
Aye, mate, it's a shame for a big man because he was coming on to a game, so he was. Regarding leading the line in that, mate, I think the Rangers would found a wee system that suited him. Do you know what I mean? To play his strengths. It's a shame because as I said, he's really come on to a game, mate, and he's one of the type players that once he's fit, you've got to get the best. You've got to get the best out of him. When he's half fit and he's no right, mate. You know what I mean? That's when the doubters are flying around. But he'll be a miss. But listen, hopefully he's only out for a couple of weeks and he's not done any serious damage to his knee. And hopefully a wee spell on the treatment table, mate. And we'll get him back, like the gaffer said there, mate. Because we're going to need everybody, especially with the running in the league and the 2 cups that we're still competing in.
It looks as if they're going to miss about a week's worth of football now, Bridge. But obviously that takes in 8 days, kicks in 3 games, 2 of them being massive,
Yeah, sadly, I'm hoping that with some of them, it's just going to be the 2 games. They're going to miss the next 2 games. But they are big games, no matter what we think. All of our games now for the end of the season are big. Obviously some bigger than others, but in reality, but next game's always the most important. So we need to do something. The manager needs to ex-coach and staff together and find out who we can use and what positions we can use them in. And if he needs to do some major rearranging, he might have to do that. So we have to live with it. But our manager's on good form. His team selections have been very good up to now, and hopefully that continues. Sad for the guys that's injured. Very sad for them, because it's been a great season in this part of it anyway, and we've just had a great week. So let's hope and get them back and get them in ready for the run-in all the way through for the European stuff.
All right, if it's all right with you two gentlemen, we'll get the phone lines open. Yes?
Yes, mate.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Okay, I think the obvious choice would be Sakala to play in the centre forward role. But what about something a bit left field, like Joe Aribo playing up there, Billy?
My thoughts exactly, mate. I was thinking there's two or three different wee formations the Rangers could work for us. We're playing Joe Aribo there. You could take Joe Aribo down the right. You could take him through the middle. You could take Sakala on the right hand side. 3-4-3s, 4-4-2s, 4-3-3s. We'll need to go with what we've got there, mate. But I remember when Joe Aribo first signed us under Stevie Gerrard, he used to play out on the right hand side, and he was always wanting to come on his favoured left foot. So, I mean, he's more than capable playing out on the right hand side. And listen, I would think he'll be capable of playing through the middle too. No, just you could even maybe play, I don't know, maybe two in there and a wee number 10 behind them, or maybe Joe Aribo through there with Sakala and Kent just off him, breaking beyond them type thing. So there's plenty of options there for Joe to play in there, and he's more than capable, so he is, because he's a cracking big player, and he's come on to a game again, which is good for us.
Ridgeman?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not long ago. Well, it doesn't seem that long ago that that was his major point when he was playing. He was always out on the right. He appeared to be, and he'd love to come inside and have some of those wonderful shots he has right across the goalkeeper's face, right into the sort of side of the net. That was his favourite stuff. But I think when he moved over to the left into the old-fashioned inside left position, he actually was quite good there too. Well, I think he's a smashing player, so I believe he'd be good everywhere. But you could move him up front, no problem, and you'll get 100% out of him, no problem, definitely.
I don't suppose it was a surprise that Ramsey's out, was it really? I mean, everybody's seen him clutching his hamstring on Sunday, yeah, so that was just started for 10, so that's minimum roughly 2 weeks, Billy, yeah?
Aye, mate, but it all depends what kind of strain on his hammy, but if it's away at all, mate, you know what I mean? You know what it's like.
6 weeks. Aye, 6 weeks, mate.
You know what I mean?
Obviously, if you just give it a wee tweak, maybe you could be lucky in 2 weeks, maybe.
Aye.
That's what I was meaning when I said it. As long as they got him off as quickly as possible, because sometimes the players want to play on and they just do more damage to the hamstring. So hopefully I've caught it, not the exact right time, but at least.
I'll tell you what, Aaron Ramsey's lucky. He doesn't get paid for his minutes, does he?
I'll tell you why. We know these guys. They brought him up, and he's obviously got qualities that we need in the team. But he's got going to have more problems from an international perspective, because he wants to be fit for the Wales games. That's what he wants.
Well, hamstring's a hamstring, mate.
Absolutely, you can't see it. And he played too long on Sunday. Too long a game for him, even if it was only half an hour. You know what I mean?
It's a shame, because he looked to be sort of grown into a team, but it's just these things you have to deal with, Billy, innit?
Aye, mate, that's entirely right, mate. He was coming on to the game as well, and he looked to be getting a lot sharper in the games that we'd seen him in. But unfortunately, you know what I mean, when the boys carrying a few injuries, on different times of his career. You know what I mean? His body's compensating for other parts of his body type thing, and there's maybe a wee bit weakness in. Maybe that's what's happened, and that's how he's tweaked his hamstring. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's just fatigue. You know what I mean? He's as Bridgman said, maybe he's played too long. But listen, a hamstring can go in the first 2 minutes of a game. It can go in the warm up. It can go in 110 minutes of the game. Do you know what I mean? So if it's going to go, it's going to go. Like, you know, but it's just a shame he's going to boot as well. But let's hope he can come back as well. Like, you know, because a fit Aaron Ramsey is a player that will slip right into any Rangers team.
But did Gio not say actually that they're hopeful that he'll be there for the first the home game?
Yeah, well, that's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks away.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll work with that then.
Yeah. We'll see where it takes us. You know. But it's a blow. Guys in a bit of form, guys that scored goals for us in the last few weeks. But listen, they can't do anything about it, Bridger.
Oh God, no. The thing is that you've got some really good midfield players, and you're thinking, is there any of them that we could take and just move them straight in up front, or how do get us with a setup that's going to get a dependence on some decent midfielders? And I'm thinking about Kamara. He's quite a good player, and he likes to sometimes play up front, you know. So I don't know whether that would be one thing he could go. I'm sorry, I'm saying these things, and I've obviously got no idea what the manager's going to say and do.
No, not at all. Just see that your old coach was ahead of the game, mate, because I hear Giovanni talking about the mental side of the game. He said, that's you. Your coach used to say that to you. You're in because you're mental, didn't he?
Exactly, yeah. And some other words. Some other words about nothing, you know.
I see you were ahead of your time, Bridge.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
You know, but right,
some of the other players said the same thing as the opposition. The guy's mental. Oh dear. Enough about me.
You've got to laugh, Billy, haven't you?
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely. Got to laugh last week and all, but that's another story.
Well, you know, you've always played with some guys that are stone mad, you know.
What?
Some of them quite good players too. You just wonder what happens to them when the whistle blows, you know. They turn into something mental, you know.
Some of the nicest guys you ever met was just like mad when that whistle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolute gentlemen are absolute animals on the park, and then you get the opposite way about as well. You get some people you think they're stone mad out in the street, and they're like wee mice on the park. You know what I mean?
Funny old game. Right, okay. I've got some callers coming on now, and we'll see what they've got to say. A blow. Got to deal with it. We had a blow in 72 when we had a semi-final with John Gregg, never made it. Alan McGregor couldn't make it in 2008. Obviously, you just got to deal with these things, you know. Time for heroes. Philly.
Aye, mate. Listen, I'm sure there'll be guys there that'll have been sitting cooling their heels for a number of weeks now, chomping at the bit to go and prove their worth to the Rangers supporting themselves and the management team. So this is a big opportunity for the ones that get selected, mate, to come and stamp their authority in the team. And listen, you never know, Ox, the Bridgeman, they maybe be going to be Rangers heroes now. You know what I mean? That's the way it works, buddy.
Yeah, the stage is all set for some of them, isn't it? You think? Because if somebody comes out and this Saturday and, you know, takes up one role, you know, they're going to be, if they play it well, it could just be the start of their season and the start of their football career, to be the rebirth of their career, for that matter.
You know, I don't think didn't matter if we won 1-0 or 6-0. I don't think that'll influence his thinking for Thursday night.
You mean? Well, the thing is that the two main people we're speaking about are definitely out for Thursday.
But I don't think. I think whatever happens on Saturday, he'll have a plan in his mind for Thursday night.
All right, I would hope so. So.
You know. bizarre as it sounds. Anyway, we've been joined by Blue Star. Evening, Blue Star.
Evening, Ox. Evening, Billy. Evening, Bridge. Ox, it's awfully ironic. When I heard that, I think it was the back at lunchtime, I've got to be honest, I was absolutely gubbed. I was gobsmacked. We were talking last night, and I was one of the ones that says with the rest players, as you know, for especially coming up to the Leipzig game. The one thing I did notice was his interview. Never at any time did he even look perturbed. He was quite jovial and he was quite happy. In fact, he kind of cracked a kind of couple of half kind of thing with jokes. So I think you just convinced yourself there when you said his thinking won't be altered in any way, shape or form for the likes of tomorrow's game to Thursday. I think he already had something up his sleeve. I'm of the opinion, Ox, going over there, especially going with our last tie with Braga, is it inconceivable to think he's putting a side out to basically try and contain? And if they can maybe sneak a goal on the break or something, but I think he's sending a team out to contain. My suggestion would be, I don't think for any way, shape or form that Aribo was any use when he was playing it in the right. I really don't. I think that's why he was changed. I think he found that very difficult. One, I don't think he has the stamina and that kind of set up. Ox, I really don't. But what I would suggest is, have we a certain midfielder? Now remember, the wee guy that you weren't that convinced with all the time when he was fit was Hadji. And yet in Europe, that wee guy time and time again, even for myself, he wasn't the quickest, certainly no. He wasn't even the most robust, certainly no. He was very, very slight. One of the slightest players that we've got. And yet, what he was very good at, all he done was, sometimes he would cut inside and just stab a ball through. Now, granted, it was Morelos or whoever, or Sakala or somebody, or Kent even. Surely we must have somebody on our boots with a wee bit of tactical genius know-how that can stab that ball through. And with that, I'm thinking, if he did, and he was able to play Aribo along with Kent up front, i.e. like a 4-4-2 type thing, surely our midfielders must have enough know-how and ability to be able to punch balls through. Or indeed, could they place Kent in front of a midfield five? Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking they kind of lines, because it stands to reason. You can't even use the wee guy up front. You might get away with that in Scotland in a Scottish game.
Oh. Both stars dropped out. We'll see if we can get him back. I made a few points there. I'd be interested to see how it pans out. What would I think the team will be? I don't know, Billy. Any thoughts? What's your team for tomorrow, first and foremost, Billy? Because we're starting to look at Thursday, and we can't plan the Thursday to be. To 2 o'clock tomorrow, we can't plan about Thursday, can we?
That's right, mate. Well, there's no point in thinking that. I mean, we can look into what we're going to play next Thursday, but the management team and the players can't look no further than the next game, Ox. So we've got to get Motherwell out the road tomorrow and hope to come through that unscathed with any injuries and everybody's all fit and healthy. But if you ask me for my team for tomorrow, off the top of my head, Tavernier, Golson. I'll throw one. I'll get a wee laddie a game up at laddie King in. Bassey at left back, and I would go Davis, Ryan Jack, Johnny Lundstrom, and I'd go Sakala, Aribo and Kent. That'd be my team. That's just off the top of my head, mind you.
Yeah. I don't think your boy King will play, but I like him. Bridgeman.
Yeah, I doubt very much if they'll play him. But you know, once again, as I said earlier, the manager and the coaching staff have got a big job in their hands to carry Rangers through, because for the next 2 weeks, or this weekend and right through to the next weekend, he's got some big jobs in his hand. It's got to be looked after. The players have got to be looked after. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't disagree with anything that has been said. Billy's that's a really good team he's selecting. I would change it slightly. I would have went with Bassey in the centre. What do you call him? No, Bassey. Oh my God, Balogun. I'd have played Balogun at the centre half. That's what I would have done if put Bassey at left back. I don't know.
Star might be back with us. You back with us, Star?
Mox, I don't know what happened there. I don't even know how far I got before it was cut off, to be honest.
My
rationale was as inconceivable that he could even go with a kind of 4-5-1. Kent certainly has the speed. He's robust enough. He's got big shoulders. Is it inconceivable that even if he played Aribo and he's told him to push that bit forward when and if he gets a chance, and I know he does that, you know what I mean, but I'm thinking, is there anybody you can honestly, I mean, I'm asking you guys, because for me, Aribo doesn't play well next to Kent. I just don't see it at all. When he played out in the right, for me, it just didn't work. Is there anybody you can honestly think off the top of your head that even as a midfielder, a false number 10, that could kind of play off him? Because I'm stuck.
I think you could have a situation where you could have next Thursday, but no tomorrow. That if everybody was fit, you could have Arfield on the right, Kent on the left, Kamara, and then up to Aribo, and then you could have behind him Lundstrom and Jack. But it's all permutations, Billy.
Aye, mate, I was just thinking along the same lines, mate. Exactly. You must, great minds think alike, as you say. That's the only way I can think about it just now.
Differ, Billy. Remember that? Fools seldom differ.
Aye, well, true. That's true, I know, mate. No, aye, you could go that way too, like, you know, or as I said, I don't even, well, you could even put Camera out in the right terrier if you wanted and play Jack, Lundstrom and Davis in there. It's like three sitting type thing, midfielders. But there will be wee ways that you can tweak the systems with the players he's got to work in this particular game in Europe, mate. I don't think it's got to be tough. Like, listen, the tie's tough enough as it is, first and foremost. I mean, but this team's we're got to be playing over two legs. They're certainly nae mugs, and we're nae mugs either, because they're worthy of their semi-final position too, mate. But I think we'll be all right, buddy, with what we've got. You know what I mean? And listen, you never know when we maybe get the two laddies back fit. You know what I mean? It all gives another option.
What, for Thursday?
No, for the following game. That's what I'm talking about, mate. You know what I mean? So
I don't. Blue Star.
Try to kill two birds with one stone there, Rock. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. But Blue Star, I'll take this to Bridge before we come back to you. I genuinely don't think he can start planning till he gets them on out the way, Bridge, man.
Yeah, I think it's got to be that. And we have to be very careful as well when we're speaking about Motherwell. Motherwell, although we've beaten them quite a lot, the truth of the matter is that they've caused us a lot of trouble. They're a very fit team, and they come up and nearly always throw us a wee wobbly in Fir Park. That's what happens to us. We've got lots of bad memories of Fir Park playing against them. We need to be at our best. I'm afraid we've got injuries there that may make that difficult for our management. So we need to find another way. We need to beat Motherwell. That's what we need to do. We need to beat Motherwell and come out with a team that's going to do that and do it. That's what we need to do.
I think Sir Callum will play tomorrow, Blue Star. I don't know what you think. I think he'll play up top tomorrow.
I'll be honest, Docs, after watching him today, I'm being truthful here. I think a few years are in for a shock tomorrow. I think you'll see 2 or 3 changes that we weren't expecting. Honestly, I do. Because I'm 100% convinced now our manager has got his eyes on Europa. And I think a lot of us are still with this impression about the so-called league. And I'm not saying I've gave up. What I'm saying is, I think he knows that Europa is there. And I genuinely do think there'll be changes tomorrow. Honestly, I do.
So you're saying you don't think he's that bothered about the league then?
I'm not saying, Bridge, that he's no bothered about it. What I'm saying is, and I'm inclined to agree, I think he's came to the conclusion there are certain players that he knows he's going to have to push in, he's going to have to prompt them, and I think that's what they've been doing. I genuinely think he probably thinks he should still have enough to go to like some other Waldemora, but I think he'll have full focus on Europa. Yes, I definitely do. I think when you're so close to it, when you're in a semi-final, I don't care what MD says, and I know we spoke about it last night, Ox. I'm not saying I'm getting up in the league, but at the same time, I think he'll be reckoning he's putting enough out to do the damage, but I think he'll be holding back. I genuinely think he'll make changes tomorrow, honestly, 100%. I'll come back on if I'm wrong, but I do.
He's got in it. Two of the starters for last week are out injured.
Yes, but when I say that, Ox, I'm talking about some of our mainstays, whether it's Lindstrom, etc., etc. I think there'll be a few dodges tomorrow. I think he'll be holding a couple back. I really do. I do.
Well, we'll find out in 14 hours or something like that.
I just think it's a shame, Ox. Honestly, I tell you, we're in so much of a blooming well high after the last two games, and then you get hit with a whammy where the only real striker that we've got on our books that was doing a wee bit of a job for once. As I say, it was the first 3 games he's played, and I don't know how long since we've had him, I think. And he's just crocked. I think it's a sad situation that the so-called squad that we've got, when we're really banking on 2 goal scorers, because the wee man, much as I love him and I do love him, Sakala, he's not a goal scorer. And we shouldn't be in that situation. And remember, the one guy that we really did pay money for, Itten, he's not even in the hunt. Could it be that he can bring him in tomorrow?
I don't know if we'll see it, mate. We'll picked up that he's an illness.
I don't think I know we can't. We'll not see him in Europe, but I genuinely think he might use him against Motherwell because he knows they're physical. That's another thing. They're a physical side.
If you'll take a breath and let us answer, yeah, right. We picked up that Itten's had an illness for a while, so you might not see him, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think.
Yes, mate.
Just to say, look, we have to be watching as well, and Gio has to watch. He's built a wee legend for himself at the moment. The last thing we need is for him to pick a reserve team to go out against Motherwell, simply because he thinks that the Europa League is far too important. We're still in the league, and the fans want us to go and fight for everything that when we go in the park, go out there and fight for it. And I don't know whether when they he would waste his reputation slightly with the fans if he did something really stupid. So I would suggest that we need to call Canny and I don't expect him to throw in reserve players. I just don't. I know he's going to have to put in some players and change things about a wee bit. But no, please don't go in with a weakened side. Please don't do that, Gio. Please.
I think the big thing is, Billy, if you go back in your generation, you've got 5 substitutes you can use now. 5. So you can fix it up that way, yeah?
Aye, mate. It's not as if it's like the old days where 1 or 2 subs and that, like, you know. 5, it's a good idea, the 5 substitutes. I don't know how many we'll have in our pool. Tomorrow we'll need to wait and see when the team's picked. But there'll be enough there to rest, well, not to rest players, but to sit players on the bench, and then maybe 60 minutes, 65 minutes, if things are going our way, you can change things about a wee bit just to take players halfway, then think about Thursday type thing, Ox, you know what I mean? Maybe if you've, I don't know, say for talking's sake, Stephen Davis, starts the morning, he says, right, I fancy Stephen Davis just for his calmness during the week. You could say, right, I'll take Stephen Davis off after 65, 60 minutes and bring maybe, I don't know, Scott Arfield on in that type thing, or get doing that road type way, mate, like, you know, and just to freshen things up. That's how I said when you says that off the top of my head, the team I would pick. I thought you've got a bit of experience round about the young laddie Leon King. I know you think maybe think he's ready, but I'm thinking then you've got Balogun there for sitting in warming the bench for Thursday night type thing, like, you know, because you're not going to throw the laddie in there and a big game like that. He's certainly not ready for that. The laddie, definitely not. But if you play, aye, when you go, mate. Sorry.
If you get a couple of injuries, so anything can happen, you know. And listen, I like the boy Leon King. I think he's got something about him, you know. And he strolled the St Mirren game, so you never know, mate.
He's a very talented young kid, mate. You know what I mean? And he's got all the attributes that's needed to be a right proper centre half. And I mean, you've got Connor Golson there sitting aside him, and you would take either Bassey or Barisic for talking's sake if he decided to play whatever on the left hand side. I mean, they'd be talking to them, and you would take your midfielders and sitting in front of him, so they're all got to talk that laddie through the game, like, you know. So I would take no qualms whatsoever, Ox, certainly none. If Giovanni played the young laddie the morning against Motherwell, I'd actually be quite pleased if he played the laddie, because it'll give him good experience too. If the laddie, if Gio thinks the laddie's ready to start, because you know what I mean, it's a good fixture for the laddie to come into too, like, you know.
Aye, but we'll see where it goes. It'll be interesting to see what the team is, and I think we're all maybe even more interested to see what the team will be in Thursday, Bridge.
We're greedy, aren't we? We're quite greedy. We want everything, don't we? I'm really concerned about Saturday and I hope the manager picks the correct team and we win. That's the most important thing. Pick the correct team and win. And obviously the manager's going to be thinking two or maybe 22 steps ahead of me, and that will include the big game on Thursday. And as a Bear, I'm desperate to see the big game on Thursday, but I can't see it other than when they come back to Ibrox. So these are the things that I concern myself about. I really need my team to come to the game and get tore right in. But no, we've got guys that finished the game on Sunday against Celtic on Sunday. These guys, the guys that finished, and they've replaced first team starters. If we've got any of them first team starters not available, then the guys that finish the game can actually just walk into that position. That's what I would say.
Aye, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. Blue Star.
Absolutely. As I say, it was a quandary for me when I says last night. I genuinely was wanting them to make changes. I disagree with Bridgeman. I'm not saying that you put out a weakened side, far from it. But gosh, it's not that long ago, it's at the start of the season, we were talking about with enough players to make a team for playing in Scotland and a team for Europe. I mean, you've still got to look at that so-called pool of players he's got, and we all know that he doesn't fancy a lot of them. But as you said there, he's allowed 5 substitutions straight away. So, for talking's sake, if he replaces 5 who were so-called starting lineup, and he puts 5 substitutions, and he starts with 5 substitutions, none of us can fault him. Because at the end of the day, if we win the game and he turns around afterwards and he says, I had to use the pool, he says, because I've got other more important games coming up. You can't fault the guy for that. And if we're allowed 5 substitutions, well, that's you starting with 16. He's got more than 5 on the bench. So for me, the players will need to be used. 100% they'll need to be used. Whether we like it or no, he's going to have to, because we've seen what's happened with the so-called players that we needed, i.e. we Alfie and that, because they ran them into the ground, and that is the truth. And we had umpteen fans on, and we're all the same, and we're saying, no, you can't drop him, you've got to play Alfie. The fact of the matter is, we played him far too much because he wasn't getting any rests. So you can't have it both ways, do you know what I mean?
There's a lot of luck sometimes with muscle pulls.
Absolutely, Ox.
A lot of luck. Right, okay, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Okay, Bridge, I better just, I told you I had the clearance for the legal team.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I get a phone call from a Rangers radio pundit, concerning Sunday's celebrations. This was 24 hours later.
Okay.
And he tells me that he'd watched the game and was going to go and see certain people in his local just to let them know how he was feeling, which was fine. But he has to take some medication for his stomach. Yeah, so let's just say the size of aspirin, So he's in the local watering hole, forgets to get the medication, makes a phone call to his dearest, and the drugs arrive. Not the first time the drugs have arrived in his local, but that's another subject, right? Okay, so the drugs arrive. He doesn't look at the drugs, takes them. So remember, we're comparing aspirin and Steradent here, Bridge, right? So he takes the drugs, has a couple more shandies, explains to his muckers he's not feeling too well, doesn't understand it, really feeling the knees a bit hot in the face, flushes, sweats, starts arguing with people for no reason. So he tracks down with the drugs. That's why she said to her two men. She said to her two menopause tablets. So the complete opposite happened to him. He broke out in hot flushes, not to get him.
Cause I'm not joking, mate. See when I was down the road, I went to bed, mate. I was booting the covers off and everything, so I was. I could not believe it.
Oh, I'm saying to you, Blue Star, it was the equivalent of an aspirin and Steradent mixed up.
Got yourself. Brilliant, just brilliant.
That was all demon drink there. I'm like, I says, oh, I've got a wee tacky stomach, and I says, go and give you Buscopan tablets, right? No bother, Billy. There you go. So I fires a strip of tablets in my pocket. Never even looked. Obviously, you're cheersed up after the football and that. I no bother. God, but it didn't taste right, the things.
I mean, didn't tell you the landlord said to the next day after you took the tablets, you were arguing with everybody.
I was off Crabbit for 2 days.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious.
It was the Fox for the change.
I'll tell you what, Oxford, that was quite a good one. I have to say, that's very, very good. Really good.
Yes, I didn't exaggerate the truth based on a true story. All right. Never a dull moment. At least it wasn't Big Stevie. Right, okay. Here's a question for you, Blue Star. Who starts in goals tomorrow? Oh, was he left? Who starts in goals tomorrow, Fritch?
For me, it'll be McGregor.
Aye.
That was a huge game, and the boy McLaughlin did really, really well. But get McGregor back in. For me, anyway. Get McGregor back in. He's going to be playing on Thursday.
Sorry, Ox.
What about you? Who starts in goal?
It's got to be McGregor for me, Tammy. Definitely.
Is that cruel on the boy McLaughlin?
Nah, it's no, mate. I wouldn't say it's cruel, mate. It's horses for courses, I would think, mate. Like, the McLaughlin had a brilliant game on Sunday. I thought he commanded his 6-yard box tremendously well. He was coming for cross balls in that era, and he was confident coming for the cross balls. He was taking them out there, and he was punching them away when he needed BAM. But I think he'll go back with McGregor Lamorne, just for the specific reason that McLaughlin played there at the weekend on Sunday there. But listen, we never know. Stranger things have happened, buddy.
I'm going to have a wee poll here. What do you think, Bridge? Have a wee poll.
Go for it, buddy. Go for it.
We'll get Old School Blue on the poll, and we're going to ask you a simple question. We'll run it to you after the tune. And simply, who would you start tomorrow in goal? A for Alan and J for John. Yeah? A for Alan, J for John. Can't make it any more simple for them, Billy.
AJ.
A for Alan, J for John. We'll see what people go with. I think John McLaughlin, he's not let us down, Bridge, is he? Bizarre.
No, tremendous, absolutely tremendous performance by him. And you know, when I dare say when McGregor decides he's going to go, just for say if he goes at the end of this season, McLaughlin will not do any harm. He'll be a magic with you. Brilliant. I thought he had a tremendous game for us. Tremendous game. More so, as the guys just mentioned there and now, he comes out and he punches the ball or catches the ball. So mostly punching, get rid of it, get it away for that 6-yard box, which is very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Aye, be interested to see who starts. He's some backup for us. He's been really, when you think about it, the last couple of seasons, boy McLaughlin's not let us down at all, Billy, is he?
Oh, mate, not at all. Anytime he's been called upon, Ox, as I said, mate, he's commanded his back line, no problem. Like, you know, he's came for cross balls. He's a good shot stopper as well, and he's got a nice touch for a goalkeeper as well. Like, you know, a lot of keepers when they get a ball rolled back to them and that, like, you know, they seem to panic a wee bit. You know what I mean? He's got a nice touch for a goalkeeper, and to keep it and play the ball out for the back when he wants. So definitely, mate, he's done nothing wrong for me. And when Alan McGregor decides to retire, we've got a right decent keeper there. And listen, we've always had good keepers, the Rangers. So we had, and long may that continue, Ox. Long may that continue, mate.
Have you forgot about Simonson, Cammy Bell?
Cammy Bell. Oh my God, Cammy Bell. Dear.
Well, I wanted it to work for. I know he loves the club and all that. I'd have liked him to be good for us, but unfortunately, he came in at the wrong time, Bridge.
Absolutely. I've got relatives that live down that area, very close to Annan, and he's a local lad. And they said to us, when I asked them, they said to us, he's a bear. He's a bear, no problem there. And he's a good goalkeeper. And as soon as shooting, he came and he went in the first 3 games, he was all right. And see the odd mistake creeping in. We get that blunder. Was it Motherwell who was playing? Blunder, absolute blunder. And the shine went off. But no, no problem with him, really, in that sense. Glad we got a new keeper.
Saying that to you, Ox, I think it's when you get as we've come back at ourselves over the last number of years, you start to get the better and more experienced goalkeepers and the good goalkeeping coaches working with a crop of keepers that's going to improve and get better and better and better type thing. So, I mean, at that time in the Rangers history, it's maybe just unfortunate that the 2 keepers were playing at that time, like, you know.
Right. There's a lot of bad players all over the pitch, not just the goalkeepers. I've just had a message, Big Stevie, he's that excited for the next few weeks. He says, is there any chance you could deliver a couple of tablets to his house to come?
Oh, brilliant.
I'll tell him I'll spike his pies with him. Brilliant, Ox, man. Brilliant.
What was the way you sent me a message? I just read it out, mate. I'm not claiming credit for it, no. Right, okay. Aye, John McLaughlin, interesting to see him on a Tavernier goals, and they start every week, didn't they, Bridgeman? Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just, look, you know, you look at that defence, say four at the back, they're just unbelievable stuff. You know, they're there and they're there and they're there. I think, actually, is Borna going to be out for a wee while then, do you think?
No, I don't think so, mate. I think it was just a wee bit of, he's running up, obviously.
So he's available. He's available for tomorrow.
Yes, as far as I know, mate.
So the back four of us have been real rods. They really have been for us. And if you've got a back four like that and they're ready to play and play properly for us, then you get there's a tremendous foundation, and you could actually bring people in that are not quite 100% and so on and so forth. All the things that we spoke about before, So I love it when the back four are steady, and to put McGregor in there, it's going to take a good team to beat us. Let's put it that way, a good team.
Jacob Davis tomorrow, Billy. What are you thinking? You went for Davis, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, mate. I did. I think he'll see the wee man in the morning, because I thought when he came on Sunday, first and foremost, I thought our gaffer got his substitutions bang on at the right times in the game. And when Stephen Davis came on, I thought he brought a right calmness to the Rangers team. He was keeping it simple, and he was just using his all-heat ox. I mean, you didn't get the caps Stephen Davis has got for Northern Ireland and be the most capped football player in British international football. If you're a Diddy type thing. And Stephen Davis, mate, he just brings a real calmness to the team and knows round about him. And listen, he was the one that gave the ball up slipped the ball out to Kent to kick off when we scored the winner, mate. So, you know what I mean? Stephen Davis, they say he goes sideways. Stephen Davis can pick a pass there. You know what I mean? So I'd like to see the wee man in the morning, because I think he's still what's left in the season, buddy. I think he's still got a lot to offer us.
Mm-hmm. Always have been a big fan of Stephen Davis. I think he's been a top football player, Bridge,
Yeah, and I think we saw some of it the other day there against Celtic, and you saw him, he came on, and whatever he did, it was a stroll for him, absolute stroll. Never actually put a foot wrong. So he's a chap that's still got first team capability in the Scottish Premiership, most assuredly, and higher international level as well. So I would never. I've said this, you heard me saying it, a lot of folk might disagree. I would have no qualms if a manager kept him on for another year if they could. I think he's a super player. He makes things look quite easy sometimes, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah, that's the real football players play in the middle of the park,
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking, Oxy, when against Braga at Ibrox.
Mm-hmm.
Then when Giovanni brought Camara and Scotty Arfield, I think it was the two players he brought on at 1-0, 90 odd minutes. Talking nonsense, Billy. At 82 or 83 minutes. That's how I thought he'd have brought Stephen Davis on there, because just for his all-heat and his calmness. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it were a worked. You know what I mean? Because that's hypothetical now. We can talk about that to the cows come home type thing, mate. But when you see, that was my thinking then when I spoke about it. That's how I brought on Stephen Davis. And then another wee feather in Giovanni's cap type thing is he's seen what's happened there. And he said to himself, well, maybe that just didn't work. So what I'll do now is I'll go for Stephen Davis and against Celtic to bring that calmness now. So he's learnt another wee thing about who he can bring on at different times.
I think you're wrong there. I think he put Scotty on for shooting practice and then kept it for the Sunday. Anyway, put yourself in mute. We're going to have a tune.
Today, forever and for always, we are Rangers through and through. Well, the legends come and the legends go, but Rangers live on just the same. For a new one's born when the blue shirts won, and we all remember their name. face the world and say, bring it on some more, 'cause you know for sure that we don't do walk away. We don't do walk away. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever and for always, we are Rangers through and through. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever and for always, we are Rangers through and through.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
This will surprise you, gents. 85% have went for John McLaughlin to start tomorrow.
There you go, mate. Interesting. It just shows you how the Bears listening to the show and watching the Rangers saw see it differently, doesn't it?
No. Are you surprised at that?
I'm certainly are, mate. Aye, I'm certainly are, buddy. As I said, mate, John McLaughlin's he's not done nothing wrong, like, you know. But I just think that because Alan McGregor's the Rangers number one, he'll start them on, mate.
All right. Okay, mate. We'll see. 85%. I'm surprised it's that high. Yeah.
Aye, fair play to all the pundit, all the guys out there in the wee hingme, mate. That's mental. That's what is 85%. It just shows you, pal.
Just a wee snapshot, be interesting start and shows you, obviously, because he maybe done so well last week, yeah.
I think maybe the people are thinking along the lines regarding the way he commands his box more than Alan does. With boys coming into box for wide areas and corner kicks and that. Maybe that's their thinking. Listen, I get that as well. Like, you know, I've spoke about it before. About the difference in the two keepers.
This person can't answer at the moment.
Carry on.
I've touched on that before, mate, regarding the different styles of the two keepers, Ox. We coming for cross boys, and as I said, Alan McGregor's he's not got that, and he's not that type of keeper, mate. To come for the type boys, but and then on the flip side, you've got John McLaughlin that is going to come for the wins. So it's a good thing to have two different keepers there for different games, like whenever the opposition deems that type of challenge type thing, like, you know.
All right, okay.
Sorry,
talking about goalkeepers, mate. I mean, it's the goalie, yeah.
Oh, mate, it's sad news about the goal of the day when the news broke. So it was a good friend of mine that dropped me a wee message, and I couldn't believe it. So my heart goes out to the goalie, and let's all hope and pray that he gets the best of treatment and he makes a speedy recovery, because I'm sure everybody at Rangers Radio, and I'm sure all the Rangers supporters throughout the world, will all be the goalie in their thoughts and prayers tonight, and wishing them all the best, mate.
Here.
Here on that. Here.
It's a horrible illness. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't discriminate between prince, paupers, superstars, or vagabonds. So that's how we try to do a wee bit to help Cancer Foundation, who don't just help charity cancer people, but people with cancer, but help the community as well. But sad news, and we wish him all the best, and hopefully, like he was in his career, he's a fighter and he can beat it. But it's always daunting for everybody, and we wish you all the best, Andy, and get well soon, mate. Get well soon. Rich?
Yeah, absolutely. Commiserations to all his family. And rest in peace, Andy.
There's no deed, Bridge.
No, there's no deed, of course, sorry. I thought we were talking. I do apologise. Apologies, Andy. Hope you recover, pal. Hope you recover.
That was a mere slip of the tongue there.
It was indeed.
No, but there's an argument for greatest ever goalie. But people might go for Alan McGregor now because his longevity, but the two of them, magnificent shot stoppers.
Yeah,
I would have the two of them in front of Kloss as a shot stopper. Maybe that's a compliment, Billy. Yeah.
Ox, I remember. I think it was it 3-3 or 4-4? 3-3, I think it was at Ibrox. And I was in the West Enclosure that game, mate. And I always remember I was standing right in line with the 6-yard box, right, looking towards over at the Govan Stone, right. And see when I think it was it Andreas Tomic crossed the ball into Van Hooijdonk, I think it was. And the minute I left big Van Hooijdonk's foot, I says, that's in. And I turned away, right? And I could not believe that he saved that, right? And I'm like that to myself. See, when I watched it back in the telly, the highlights of the game, I went, how did he get to that? I went, see that's down in England or in Europe. I says, they'd be, the English rave about Gordon Banks, his save against Pelé. I think it was the 1974 World Cup type. I think Jon Heiderpet and Gordon Banks, the great Gordon Banks, put it round the board. But I'll tell you, for to pull off a save like that and put it out, Andy Gorham knew exactly what he was doing. That wasn't just he'd stuck an arm out there. You know what I mean? Even big Van Hooijdonk couldn't believe he saved it. But that's what Andy Gorham was all about. Different class, mate. I can't split the two of them, to be honest with you, between Alan McGregor and the goalie, because the two of them are right up there with the best that I've ever seen in a Rangers jersey, mate.
Without a doubt. And once again, get well soon, Andy. Yeah, we'll keep Bridge away if you're wishing you good regards.
Sorry about that.
I'm sure he'll be hearing a wee chuckle if he's listening in.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. I don't know if you hear that. You think, where am I?
But that Scotch and rice nut, wasn't it? Mind of that one.
Right, come and give us a phone. Yeah. All good. Quarter final. If we'd lost the last two games, I bet the phone lines would be busy, Bridge, yeah?
Yes, indeed. I think there'd be a lot of folk would be on complaining bitterly. Mm-hmm. But there's absolutely, at the present moment, I can see nothing at all to complain about. It's certainly from the manager down. Into the players. Nah. Might be some stuff you want to complain about at the board level or some of the executive folk. I've just did
a text for Andy Gorham, Bridge.
Oh, go on yourself. Cheers.
It says the man's a shocker.
And he's right. That's a shocker. Slip of the tongue. Apologies to all.
Right, okay. Did you hear 85% of people wanted to start John McLaughlin tomorrow, Bridge?
I heard you saying that. Look, there's a lot of folk been saying they want, for about probably 6 weeks now, wanted McGregor to set a step aside. And McLaughlin's come out and convinced them that that's exactly what they want. So he had a fantastic game against them, and that's what we want from our goalkeepers. And a very confident goalkeeper, and looks after his goal very, very well. And I don't have any problem if he becomes the number one goalkeeper. I've said it already. But as things stand at the moment, I would have him back in again, because as sure as shooting, when it comes to the European game or any games in Europe, the rest of this season, McGregor will most assuredly be the number one choice for the manager. That's the way I see it. I've been wrong in the past, you know. I just did that just about 5 minutes ago. So I just said, you know, what can I say?
Aye, it's interesting. What I'm finding interesting is I know the fact that there's people want John to start them on. I'm surprised that the percentage is so high, Billy.
That's what I was thinking myself, mate. That's a fair percentage, 85%, mate. But listen, when you think about it as well, never mind starting the Mornocks. I know I'm maybe going a wee bit ahead of myself here, mate, but he's definitely be a good goalkeeper to start the spine of your team off, if that's what we're going to do for the next season type thing, like, you know. But obviously that's another talking point, mate. But that's certainly that's a big percentage, mate. So certainly a big percentage, but it just shows you, as I said, mate, how people see it differently.
Evening, Colin. How we doing, mate?
Hi, how you doing? You all right, mate?
Good to hear from you, mate. What's on your mind?
Right. Thinking about the Connor Goldson thing.
Okay.
Just obviously the money that we've wasted in thinking could have gave him a contract with a clause in it to say, obviously, if we didn't get so far this season, then he could have been off, and then we'd get some money for him.
But you mean give him a year's extension, so if he wanted to go, we would get money for him? If I'm Connor Golson's agent, you ain't signing that, are you?
I know. I was just thinking, because he's been a good servant, hasn't he?
I know. I mean, I don't think it's 100% certain that he's leaving us, but it looks that way, Colin. But I don't know, Bridgeman. What you thinking?
Well, I want to keep him.
See, the thing is as well. See, when you see him after the last couple of games, like, especially after the youth. Oh, sorry, mate, am I jumping in here?
No,
see when you see him after.
Carry on, Colin. Carry on, mate, and we'll go back to Bridge. You
see when you see him after like the European games, especially. I think he's not listening to Alan McCoyston on Talk Sport. He's not going to get that anywhere else. Like he'll not go to another club, and he'll not get to a quarter final or a semi final. European. Do you know what I mean?
There's two things. In football, there's glory and money. On you come, Bridgeman. In you come.
What I was going to say about that is that you can take Connor Goldson, and I don't think he'll ever play for a bigger club, and I don't know if he'll ever be able to play at the level that Rangers play at, i.e. at Europe. Whatever club he goes to will not be as big, and it will not be in European football. I doubt it very much anyway. But he's a wonderful player.
So do you think he's peaked then?
He's a wonderful player for us. He's got another 4 years left in him, for sure. But I want it to be us. I would rather he was with us than anyone else. I don't see him being down to England and playing in the Premiership, but I've been wrong before in those instances. But what a player for us. Absolute stalwart, absolute brilliant. And, you know, he runs the back four as if he was the captain of the team. That's what he does. And he barks out his orders. And he's no greatest in the whole world. He makes a few mistakes.
I agree with that as well.
I want to keep him. I'd love to keep him.
I agree with that. I mean, you've got to look at the wage structure as well, though. You can't break that. But wait, is he 30 or 31?
I think he's 30. I'll get his date of birth exactly, Colin. I think he's 30.
29 years.
I mean, realistically, he's not going to get another. I mean, probably this is like, what do they call it, the last big contract. But I mean, what does he want? Does he want to go to get a mediocre Premier League team? But it's, as you say, it's probably their money. But he's got the chance to be here and win. I mean, win medals, and he's already a legend, isn't he, for 55? So.
But he's only a legend. He's only a legend with us at 50 for 55, right? He's playing really, really well with us. He's been with us 4 years, and he's been absolutely a rock for whatever manager was in. He's a rock for them, and he's always there. You never see him injured. and he's the first pick.
He don't. I know exactly. He is.
I was right. He is ages with me. He's 30 a week before Christmas.
That'll chestnut up.
Aye, so listen, he's relatively young for a centre half. You know, they play for ages because they're daft and they don't know what they're doing, right? And so he's maybe this is his final big contract. Maybe looking for, he might be looking for a 3-4 year deal, and we may be saying 2 year, and he's looking to protect his family and get a 4 year deal. We don't know what's an offer behind the scenes to him because he'll sign for somebody for nothing. Look, I'd like him to stay, but if he doesn't want to stay, Colin, shake hands and move on.
Exactly, mate. That's the thing. But that's what I was saying to a couple of my pals as well. See when you look at it over the last couple of years, see the deadwood that we've got in that squad, right? No offence to him, but we could have offered him a contract, not breaking the wage structure, but saying to him, look, we'll give you this, but if we don't make the Champions League or a club, say, in the top 10 of the Premier League in England come for you, then we'll let you go. I just don't think we can let him go for nothing.
You can't. That's modern football. We get John Lundstrom for nothing, mate.
Kind of true, mate.
Aye. If players don't want to sign a contract, your snooker talking about mega stars. I'll be joined by Andy Felix. How we doing, Andy?
Oh yes, come on, Andy.
Good evening, guys. Look, I hope Andy Gordon puts up the big battle that he always puts up for him. I'm sure he'll be okay.
I will see.
That's the foremost. Golston, well, you know, my opinion on him was, I've said it many times. You know, the guy obviously didn't want to sign the contract. And Colin, he was offered the contract, which Stephen Gerrard said at the start of the season was very lucrative, and he still turned it down. So if you don't want to stay, see you later. Let's get on. We'll go and find another one and get on with it, in my opinion. If he stays, I'll back him 100%, right enough. But the fact that we've let his contract run down, or he should know loyalty to Rangers, knowing that his contract was going to run down. At least Kamaris is right. He's possibly gone away, but he said, well, I'll sign a contract so Rangers do get something. Golston let his contract run right down. Yeah. So he's just let his contract run down. He's just going to walk out of the club. That don't sit well with me. And I'm sure it don't sit well with a lot of other bears. But as Alex has just said, modern day football, isn't it? But I was surprised Rangers allowed that to happen.
We signed with
you're absolutely right. But I'll tell you what, see over the last few weeks, I think he's been immense. He's been absolutely immense.
Yeah, but you can go back to the Motherwell game, and we'll have murdering him, won't we? And he let that ball go across to let Motherwell come back into the game at 2 each. You know, but then he's turned round and come on, hasn't he? You know, that's the problem with Golston. There's always that in it, and when we do lose a goal, and you know, quite a lot around about him, he's running about, turning around, blaming everybody else but himself. You know, he has to take the responsibility as well when he makes mistakes. He doesn't seem to do that. He blames everybody else.
Right. Fair point, mate.
Consistent. I'm not saying he's my star player every week, but he's consistent, and obviously the level of games he turns out for Colin is remarkable, isn't it? His level of consistency.
I mean, you'll have this. How many games has he played? Because you could probably count and just. He's probably missed about a dozen games in 4 years.
215 games he's played in 4 years, mate.
And he came up with the heart problem, wasn't it, when he was at Birmingham? These gave him that platform.
Aye, look, I get it, and I understand Andy's point, but we signed for nothing? We signed Ryan Jack, off the top of my head. Did Davis come back up the road for nothing? Alan McGregor come back John Lundstrom for nothing. It's modern football, mate. Sometimes it'll work for you. Do I like it? Oh, I don't, but you've just got to deal with it. Do you think he's a certainty as a win, Colin? Do you think it's 100%?
See, it's a hard one, isn't it? See when you see him after these last couple of European games and then that game against Celtic, like, looking him on the YouTube video, it's hard because I don't know whether is he sewing it in as in he's not going to see it again, or is he sewing it in because he wants more? I mean, that one on Sunday was probably the last man off the park again.
What's your thoughts, Billy?
There was another point I was trying.
I'll come right back to you, Colin. I'll come right back to you, Billy. What's your thoughts? And then we'll go back to Colin.
Well, listen, mate. I wouldn't say I'm in the Connor Golson fan club. To be honest with you, mate. That's just my own personal thoughts, but I'm certainly not going to hang the guy out to dry as long as he's playing the Rangers jersey, buddy. His appearances speaks for itself, mate. And what he does, his experience with the players around about him, he's always talking in games and that type of things. So you can't knock him that way. It's just sometimes I think he switches off in games, mate, and that's my concern about the big man. Sometimes he'll get caught in his heels. He'll maybe get caught in the wrong position in big moments in games, mate. And he's sometimes a wee bit lackadaisical with a simple pass. You know what I mean? That's the things that frustrate me about him. But other than that, mate, you can't knock the guy. And listen, if he's want to go, then we'll let him go, mate. There's no point in trying to hold on to players or feel and deal with players if they're no want to stay with us, mate. Like, you know, we just
they can't be bigger than a club, couldn't they? No.
No, you just shake hands and move on. I mean, when you seen him standing there on Sunday, looking at the fans and taking all that in, like, you know, it's a mental one, Ox. You know what I mean? It's like you're saying yourself, well.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. What was your second point, Colin?
Mate, I was just see. This has been a bit of a bone of contention. See, because we cantered the league last year, right? Done the 55. By this time last year, you know what I mean, made it wrapped up. Do you think the board took their eye off the ball? I had watched an interview on Sky with Stephen Gerrard, and listen, I'm not. I like Stephen Gerrard. His remit was to stop at 10, but do you think the board took their eye off the ball in thinking that Celtic would have no been as much a opposition as they are right now, and we could have probably have got 56 without buying or putting any more quality into the team?
I think if you're the board and we're sitting 6 points cleared before Christmas, mate, just when Stevie G leave, you think you've got enough in the tank. In hindsight, should we have brought in a couple more first team players? And I mean first team players, no projects, maybe. But I think a lot of that's hindsight. I think we were wanting to keep our best players and we've done it. And I also think in hindsight we look back and we say we should have sold A, should have sold B and got other players in. But it's hindsight and it's easy in hindsight, as I said. Andy?
Aye. Well, I heard. Was it true about? Did he try? Did he try to sign Nesbitt and Boyle for Hibs, or was that just hearsay?
I think that's hearsay, mate. I don't think they would have got another team. I think, I might be wrong, mate. You know what I mean? I don't know everything. Andy, I think, maybe we should have brought in a couple of players. Maybe we should have done A, B, or C. Maybe we should have done this. But at the time, I think what he's wanted to keep were Kent's, were Morellis's, were Arribos. You know, we wanted to go again. Andy, what's your thought?
Yeah, I totally agree there. I do think we should have brought somebody. I said at the time, you know, I mean. Need at that right time being sixth in front, just bringing a couple of new faces and also freshens the team with mix the players, keep the galvanised more, like, you know what I mean? So I would have done that. You know, we used to do that back in the past, as Murray and them used to say, there's your Christmas present or whatever. Obviously we ain't and the money, got the money that we have to do, but there's enough there from what we're taking in shirts and various things and letting pass and go, with enough there to bring in some kind of quality that come straight into the first team and helped us along the way, because you couldn't foresee what's happening now with the injuries. And we're falling down we're lowering great games in front of us, losing Roof, which, by the way, is no great surprise, let's be honest. He plays a couple of games and we don't see him for a while. So it's to type what's happening with him right enough. But unfortunately, we've not got Morales now. So, yes, I think we should have brought somebody in. I want to throw a question into you guys. This is one that Shug's asked me. The other day, they were saying that they were looking for somebody to oversee transfers and bring the players and look at the policy. But if that's the case, where does that Wilson stand? I thought that's what he was there for.
I thought I'd seen an advert for a sort of analysis guy, mate. I don't know exactly what the details were. It was somebody to look at stats and that for get performance to get for.
Right.
I'd need to check out what the job was, Andy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just found it interestingly. You know what I mean? Because I don't think these signings have been that great this season, right enough. But I mean, look, we are where we are now. The injuries are there. We come up. I did pick I would keep McLaughlin and go tomorrow.
Did you?
With a mind. Like you said, anything can happen again. You can sign somebody on. Golson could get an injury. You get enough injuries there, so I would play him and Laura with the mind of obviously Big Alan playing on on Thursday night. So that would have been my theory on that. I would definitely still play him in the Scottish Cup final, right enough. I was very impressed with him. I think the defence looked more happier under him. Yeah. I would definitely keep him in the cup final because he's been gearing there, and I think the defence looked more confident with him behind him.
All right, we'll be joined by Peter for 5. Evening, Peter.
Evening, how you all doing?
Evening,
Peter.
What's on your mind?
Just what he's touching on, just Golson a bit. I don't really want to get into that because, as we've all said, no players big in the club. They want to be here. They want to be here. If they don't, they don't. It's quite simple. But touching on, obviously, hindsight, yeah, we should have brought players in. But do you know, I think it's kind of, why is Gerrard waiting to come out now? Can he not have come out in the summer and brought this up? Me personally, I couldn't care what Gerrard says now. He was here. He's ex-man now.
Excuse me, Pat. Could you please explain what that was?
Oh yeah, no, mate. I was just going to say that.
No.
It was in the media, and he said he felt. I think the words he felt he wanted to go again. Maybe that was.
Yeah.
Maybe bring in other players or go to try and get to the next level. That he intimated that. Yeah,
we all wanted that, didn't we?
There's finances come into play.
Of course.
It's not always that simple. But also, he also said that he got the full backing the whole time he was with the club for the board of directors. So as if
he did exactly, and he also said that they didn't budget for the Champions League. So you can't. I think the guy done. I mean, what he done. I don't blame him for leaving. Do you know what I mean? He left us in a good place.
Well, I don't know how he done it. I think maybe everybody's.
No, totally, mate. Aye, coming out in the between a European game and a semi-final of a cup, and saying it was only Rangers. Aye, totally. But that was one of the things I was saying to one of my friends as well. It's like. It's like you or I. See if you got that opportunity to go somewhere else, you're going to go and double your money.
I don't know, but Sky came in.
I think
Sky came in for Bridge and he wouldn't move.
Nano's job came up for Oxford, he's not away.
Nobody's came for me, mate. Nobody.
See, the funny thing is that he actually made a comment and said he wished. Well, I'm not saying he wished, but he was saying he could have went up to Scotland and played for Rangers and Celtic. See the amount of comments I've seen. It's only Celtic that could afford him. I'm like, aye, right. He would have been a Rangers player if he never went to LA Galaxy. You would have gave him the platform.
We don't know that because he said he'd have played for Rangers or Celtic.
Well, all right. Well, he's gone now. He's nothing to do with your club. He can see what he likes, you know. We've got a manager who's doing a great job, and he got us into the semi-final. Obviously, we could have done a bit better in the league. He's got to build his own team. He's got to build his own team.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, he was under massive pressure. Let's not kid ourselves. I think he kind of shoot on his coupon there a couple of times. You know, he pulled off 2 great results there. I think that now gives him the opportunity, no matter what happens now, that we'll give him the chance to bring his own players in and see where it takes us. Am I totally convinced? No, but I hope he does, because he actually seemed to show a bit of emotion after we did them in the semi-final there, and hear the fist pump and all that. Kind of like that. We all love that, don't we?
People talk.
I like
Colin,
that.
let people talk, mate.
Aye, mate.
Just wait for your name, mate.
So, he definitely deserves another chance, right enough, and hopefully he brings the right players and he gets a bit of money. There's no guarantee. You can sign a £1 million player, a 250 development, or a top-notch player coming to Rangers and playing for that great club of ours. It's no easy. You've got to have big balls and a big mind about you. So, he picks the right players. Hopefully they fit into the pieces that he wants to put into there, and we go again. But, there's a lot to still play for. We've got a couple of injuries, but I don't mean nothing. Sometimes things work for a reason, or happen for a reason. We're still going to put 11 players out. We're still going to have subs on that park. And I'm pretty sure in their 2 games, the semi-final and the cup final, we're going to be totally up for it, no matter who plays. So it's just about the bounce on the day and making sure we have the right attitude. The games are still in front of us, aren't they? And that's what we've got to keep thinking. It is a blow, but is it a surprise, really? Does Ruth play 3 or 4 games in a row? Not really. As I said, it's just unfortunate that Buff's out for the rest of the season. But we've got to find another solution, haven't we?
Aye. You've just got to deal with it. You can't legislate in your signings either for injuries, Billy. Can you? You can't sign somebody just in case you get an injury.
It doesn't work like that, does it? You know what I mean? If that was the case, then you was not signing anybody. You know what I mean? Injuries happen. That's part and parcel of football. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like a perfect example where we're talking about Connor Golson. A big man's hardly took an injury, and then you've got Philip Hollander. He's had no luck with injuries. You know what I mean? And then you've got Aaron Ramsey. He's had no luck with injuries. So you're entirely correct, Box, how that works, buddy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Here, Andy, I've got a wee trivia question for you quickly.
Go on.
Right, okay. If Richard Campbell, Dick Campbell, gets promoted with a broth in, that'll be 3 Dicks that's managed in the top flight of the SPL as managers. Can you name them?
Is there a trick? No, I'll tell you what. I'll plead the 6 o'clock for this. I'll leave it alone.
Come on.
This will come back to haunt me. Well, I was going to say Dick Abercat, right enough.
That's one. Yeah, that's one.
He was the general, wasn't he?
Aye. And I've gave you the first one.
I don't know. I'm just a bit weary about answering anything here.
There'll be a wee snidey about a Celtic somewhere.
I know there's something.
I gave you Dick Campbell, didn't
I? You did. And Dick Abercat's for manager.
That's 2. Where you go? Yeah.
No, I can't think.
All right, okay. Just keep that.
No.
There's Dick Advocat, Dick Campbell, and Neil Lennon.
Oh dear. I just knew the wee tiny one. I just knew it. Wow.
Oh, that's, to be honest with you, Docs, that's 10 for what I would have called him, so we'll leave it at that then.
Anyway, I'm only joking, Neil. Right, okay, I know you're listening. Right, okay. But that's a big point. Bridgeman, you can't... I know people said we should have signed a striker maybe at Christmas time. Aye, we should have signed. But you go and try and get one. You say, right, what's my role? Well, Morelos is number 1. Where am I going to? Well, we'll see when we get into the team, and we bring Itten back for cover. Doesn't work out. Roof is back to fitness, is injured again, and then lo and behold, Morelos get injured. So you're trying to maybe bring somebody in at maybe 3rd or 4th choice. It's difficult to get people in like that, isn't it?
But I think
I agree with you.
Sorry.
Colin, wait for your name and then we'll bring you in. No problem, mate. On you go, Bridgeman, then we'll go to Colin.
I think our manager and our club were very, very unlucky because Morelos was getting picked for the Columbia and the times he went over there and they never even got selected. So I think we bit of agreement with the international teams that we've got to know he's gone far 5,000 or 6,000 miles away. It's a long, long way to travel and get back, and they no even getting a game. And then he gets, if he does get a game, the next time he gets injured, or he is injured. That's just no fair. And I think our manager and our club suffer for that, particularly the time when he was away over there and they never kicked a ball. And we've maybe lost points during that time.
Well, we dropped points to them, we dropped points to Ross County, and we dropped points to Aberdeen.
It's all there. I feel really sorry, particularly for the manager and myself and the Bears. We were caught in the trap, and Morelos, we wanted Morelos to get international appearances because that's what he wanted. But sorry, it just didn't work out for him. And I think maybe it was even deliberate somewhere along the way, and I can't understand why. But I think that's what we get let down with, and that's why we were struggling, dropped a lot of points when they went there.
Colin, what was your point, mate?
Hi, mate. I was just going to say the same. I think it's been an over-reliance on Alfredo Morelos. See, we're gubbed with Alfredo Morelos. He's a talisman. Like the thing he does in Europe, he's the main man. Do you know what I mean? He's a machine. What he was doing before he got injured as well. I mean, thinking about now what we do without him, it's like you're like, who else can you replace him with? He's already scored. I mean,
look at Roof's goals.
Roof's got an amazing goal to ratio. He has done well, but I think Roof, I don't know about you, mate, but I think Roof's he can't put a dozen games together. You know what I mean? He's a brilliant player. And see that time when he was playing with Leeds 2 years ago, he was on fire. Like that Bielsa, see when it was that Bielsa ball, like he epitomised that. He was rapid, he was in and out, but he was always, he could only maybe play 10. Do you know what I mean? And then he'd be out for a few. But as for Alfredo, I think if he goes, I don't know who would get to fill his boots.
Well, there's no many like Alfredo, Billy, is there? And then we'll go to Peter.
No, not at all.
There's only one Alfredo Morelos, mate. As I've said many times on the show, mate, he's the only striker I know, and this is the highest compliment I can give him, Ox. He's the only striker I know in Britain that can occupy a full back line himself. You know what I mean? So Alfredo's out a mould of his own. It was a wee bit immature, how can I put it, to say the least, when he first came. A lot of silly wee blood cares and whatnot, but he's come on leaps and bounds, and he's matured a hell of a lot the last season, and he's certainly come on leaps and bounds again under Roy Mackay, mate. I can't speak highly enough about wee Alfie, mate. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and I think, what age is he? 26, I think he is. He's only got to get better and better and better, and I hope we can keep a hold of him. And listen, I'd love to see him playing the Champions League with us, mate. If he doesn't, then I'll certainly wish him all the best, because he's going to go, and you mark my words, mate, he's got to go in and be one of the top strikers in Europe in the next 5-6 years, mate. Believe you me, because he's got everything. So he has.
Right, okay. I like Morelos. I don't think he's a prolific goal scorer, as mad as it sounds, Andy. But as a leader of the line, he's superb.
Yeah, you just I was just going to say that. As Billy just said, totally dominates the old defence right enough, but we've never ever been able to find somebody in Scotland that can play half him to get us the goals we want. His goal return in the league this year is not very good. He had that couple of seasons, didn't he, where he was getting the 27, 28 goals, and then he'd dry up after Christmas. for some apparent reason, he just don't get enough goals. But that's the way he plays, and we can't seem to find a guy that can sit off him or play off him like we had with the Coisty partnership and all that. And that's a crying shame, because can you imagine if there was that kind of partnership in the Morales damage, you know?
We don't play with a two now, mate.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, if we're going to play like that, like he does, then obviously, and that's the strength we're going to play to, then we're looking for more goals out of him, aren't we? Or we should be. You know, that's how I would see it, you know.
Could I come in there, mate?
On you go, mate. Yeah.
All I was going to say is, like, as that boy was saying there,
he's not a boy, mate. He's not a boy.
Sorry. See, when we've not got Morelos, it's kind of hard to think, like, who is going to be the goal scorer, because we're struggling, as in who, like, see if I were looking at the Scottish League, kind of, like, who would you kind of pick? I would have said, last year at this time, I would have said Nesbitt or Boyle, but if I'm not going to have a lot of money to spend, then I would rather go local. I like me Fish and Sakala. Like, see, like these wee kind of rough diamonds we could maybe pick up that are on free contracts, but I would maybe look more local just to see if we could, like, score more goals local and then make it into the Champions League and then see how much money we could spend.
They've got to be good enough to play for our club, you know. They've got to be good enough.
Totally, aye.
They've got to be. That's first and foremost. It doesn't matter what they do, we Kilmarnock or Queen of the South, whatever. They've got to be good enough. And that's a big call, and we sign them. I get what you're saying, the boy Nis, but everybody's looked at him, mate. He was with Dunfermline. He's no. I think he was with Thistle before he went to Dunfermline. They've had a look at him, mate. You know, and the boy can finish. Can he finish? Of course he can. Is he a better finisher than Morelos? Maybe. Is he a better player than Morelos? No. If you also look at Morelos, when he went off injured against Dundee, he went off the park. We hadn't scored the goal. We scored 2 goals, and then we've scored the goals against Braga. We've scored the goals against St Mirren. We went in the lead against them at Ibrox, and we've beat them. We've beat them at Hampden. So we've proven that, bizarrely, Peter, that we can win games without Alfredo, as mad as it seems.
Aye, as a team shouldn't rely on one player. It's a team game at the end of the day. Goals should be spread across the team, not just one boy all the time. And that's been part of our downfall this season as well. Apart from the last few weeks, we've started spreading the goals out amongst the team. Yeah, Morelos, look, yeah, he's a great striker and he can occupy defence, like we're all saying. You know, he's great at it, bullies him. He's more a complete player now. The passes he can play. Just a phenomenal player now. He's come into a league of his own, but as I said, he shouldn't be relying on one player, because, let's be honest, Alfredo's not been the prolific goal scorer. It doesn't guarantee you 30, 40 goals a season. We've not had a striker like that since McCoy, Boyd, Haley partnership.
Bridgman, who would you rather play against? That guy who puts up physically and rumbles you up, or the guy who's trying to steal on your shoulder and trying to make you turn and steal a yard on you? What do you prefer?
Oh, I prefer the former. The latter drives me nuts. I don't like people sneaking behind you.
You see he's cheating all the time. You're cheating. Yeah?
Absolutely. You end up, some players use their elbows quite a lot against players like that. Deliberately step back and bar them with their elbow. And see, I didn't see him. And a lot of times they get away with it. But you see the likes of some of the wee guys that play in our Scottish Premier League. They're really good at it. Playing off the shoulder, a foot away from them. And it's the step out, step up. And before they know it, because they know they're not offside, you know, they're away, gone. Ball's played and they're away. And that leaves the centre half looking stupid, you know. But there's nothing you can do about that.
It's just an instinct, isn't it? It's an instinct you've got, isn't it?
Yeah. Prefer the hustle bustle.
So you'd rather play against Morelos and Roof? Is that what you're saying?
Most assuredly. They're pests. I wouldn't like to play against Morelos at any time, because he's a really good player. But seriously, what a challenge that would be to play against someone like Morelos. the physical aspect of it alone is tremendous, you know. I love the physical side of it. Yeah, it was really great. And Roof, obviously a nuisance, constant nuisance, you know. He's not necessarily the dirtiest player in the world or anything. He's a constant nuisance. He's round about there all the time. He doesn't play off your shoulder.
There's Scottish football took a big step forward tonight. That's another AstroTurf Park back in the top flight again. What a joke. What a joke.
Oh, man.
I just get that flashed up on my phone. Is that them into the Premier League again?
Promoted, aye. So you were wrong. There was only 2 dicks in the Premier League managers, Andy.
I was kidding.
Everybody in the world knows what I feel about that man, I'll tell you. But no, and that club as well, shocking. It's shocking. McInnes will be a Scotland manager in the next 2 years, you wait and see.
All right, okay, well, we'll see. Okay. Aye. Well, we've got a game tomorrow. Let's see, how are we going to line up, Andy?
Well, that's a good one, isn't it?
Don't you mess about now, Andy.
No, I'm just right. I got McLaughlin goals, Tavernier, Golston, Bassey, Barisic, midfield. I'll go Davis, Jack, Kamara. Up top will be Kent, Rebo, and Sashin. That's how you go. That's not bad, is it, for me, just throwing one up like that? Whether it's right is another matter, right enough, but there you go.
I think you've done remarkably well. That's the first time you've ever managed to get 11 players. That's pretty good.
Well, I'm usually well done by this time, right enough, so I'm quite sober tonight.
Well said. Well said, young man. Well said.
What have you got? Obviously, the last few weeks you with a green and a.
Here we go.
Yeah, what are you going for this weekend?
I might just go an off-royal blue with a little pink feather on it, right enough, and a red, white, and blue background. See whether they can mess about with them colours, eh?
Oh dear. Yeah, right, okay. Aye, interesting team. A lot of similarities, but can you feel this building? I'm going to go to, after you, I'll go to Peter, then I'll go to Colin. Can you feel the building? Are you getting, can you feel what's coming, Andy?
Yeah, well, I'm expecting the Rangers to go out there and really lay it on Motherwell, you know, and get a good result with confidence. But after what's coming there, I'm trying not to think about that because we've got a game tomorrow. I mean, come tomorrow afternoon, no matter what the score is, and we'll be after the pre-match, all our minds will be turning to the next Thursday. When you think about it, and you put it on the line there, I can feel my stomach get going up and down. It's massive for you know what I mean, and it'll come. It'll be here soon enough. Let's just go. Let's get a good result, and confidence factor. It's the day off gives him an extra day in the legs, and then whenever he starts to want to work on him, and then we're ready to go fly out there and get the job done. I know one thing for sure. The sounds of what I'm seeing going around. There's going to be many, many bears in that ground, and on all parts of that ground, by the sounds of it, there's many thousands going to that game.
Yeah.
So it could be a good night.
Aye, okay. What's your thinking, Peter? Are you starting to look ahead, plan ahead, look at flights, hotels? Have you thought of all that, or are you just taking it one game at a time, Peter?
No, it's hard not to think ahead, isn't it? Because I've got the feeling of 2008. I've said it for a few weeks now, and I think the Braga game just showed the fight, the determination to find a way to beat a team. It's just like 2008 over again. It's going over to Sporting, Whittaker scoring that great goal. It's just got the makings of 2008 again. It's hard not to get enrolled in it. As I've said, this team's good at building up, and they built us up again. With these last 2 games, extra time in the weekend, they were a fitter team going into extra time. You think it was the other team to put it this time, not us. So it's building up nicely, but tomorrow you want to go out just like we did against St Mirren, go and score 4 or 5 goals if we can, get the confidence built up for Thursday. The Leipzig will take care of itself, that's the way I look at it. And what a special night it's going to be at Ibrox for the second leg.
We can't win it on Thursday, mate, but we've got to make sure we're in it.
Yeah, definitely, just like Braga.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You've got to make sure you're in it. Billy, you know what it's like to feel like it was in 2008. You had it last Sunday. Billy?
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry, buddy. No, listen. Sorry, Mucker. I lost you there a wee minute, mate. I've looked at. I've applied for tickets on the UEFA website, mate. I've looked at flights and accommodation, mate. So I'm dreaming, mate. I'm dreaming, mate.
Not for Motherwell.
Aye, mate. I'm getting a flight out to Motherwell, so much. Aye, mate. No, mate. Predictions are more than we'll win the morning, mate. We'll definitely win the morning.
Score.
3-0 to Rangers.
I'll take that. Bridgeman, do you feel this is special, Bridge, with all your experience? I mean, obviously, you've been through a lot. You've been there at D-Day and things like that, you know, so you've had a lot of big moments, you know.
Indeed, pal, indeed, yeah. No, this is a really, really special time for Rangers, for sure.
Right.
With the position the club are in, I think that tomorrow's game will be huge, irrespective of what team we put on. It's going to be huge, and in my opinion, every single Rangers fan will be expecting a victory in the 3 points, and that puts the pressure back onto that mob, which is a nice way to be. And then we could step up and march on to Thursday, see what any more injuries or whatever, get everything resolved, and go out there and do it. We get through tomorrow, I'll be very, very happy. 3 points, very happy.
What's the score going to be tomorrow, Colin?
I think it'll be a Rangers win. Motherwell can sometimes be a bit hammer throwers, can't they? Like the two boys in the centre halves. I mean, they're not exactly ball players, you know. They'll just kind of take them out. But I'm hoping for a win. Go into Thursday. Gio will have a full week, get a team plan, and just see how it goes.
And that makes sense, mate. That makes sense. I get it. Aye, mate. We'll have to. The excitement's building, but you can only deal with what's in front of you, Andy. You can't look 2 steps ahead, can you?
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it, right? And if I'd like to see us get a nice 2 or 3-0 win there. I think it'll be 3-1 myself, right enough, but any result will do. So you just keep that confidence rolling. But like Peter just said there too, right? I'm ticking away. I'm thinking, well, semi-final, we played the Bayern team. Well, it's another German team. It's 50 years, 2022, 1972. That's the kind of things I'm looking. Instead of said the other night, strange things happening in football. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, then hopefully we're going to win it. You know, well, that's what I'm looking at. Right? I see Benny in the feed giving the hammer for leading Lumsden out of the team right enough. I've got about so we gave me stick for that right enough, you know. He's going. Do
you think that suits him, Benny? Do you think that suits him?
Oh, Benny definitely suits him, but I would imagine Benny will be sitting somewhere. So you can't label me with a right hand. But there you go. But yeah, Benny, I think we should keep that name for the later. He's not commented on it, by the way, so I think it might have wounded him a wee bit.
He did to me.
Oh, did he? Aye, well, as I say, I mean, I did forget about him actually, but if I were to look at it that way, I would still stick with that because Jack is injury prone, and I think
he went for that. He failed the IQ test.
Oh, they probably took the wrong turning for Birmingham as well. Brilliant.
Aye. Well, Colin, you enjoyed coming in. First time caller, Colin. Didn't ask you that before you.
I am, mate. Yes, I am. But I've been listening. Well, a good. Yeah. thanks very much. It's been much appreciated.
No, you've done very well. Done very well.
Good few months. Thanks, pal. Thanks very much.
Good for his first time, Billy. Yeah, no easy, is it?
I'm still waiting to hear you, mate. No, well done, Colin. You spoke well, mate. Thanks very much for your call, pal.
Thanks, pal. No problem at all. No problem at all.
You know, and we'll see next week on the show who Bridgeman's burying.
Aye. I have to say, you know, I feel really stupid. So humblest apologies to everyone. I hope there's nobody.
I'm sure everybody laughed, Bridge. I'm sure everybody laughed. We know what you meant, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, it's easy to get the odd word mixed up in it. We are live, totally live. Trust me, if we weren't, we would have cut that bit. Right, what's the score going to be quick when I'm on it, Peter?
4-0.
4-0 again. Okay, 4-0. And Sakala and that, they're the only ones who can score against Motherwell.
Aye. I've seen, it's just a lot of things, but people calling young Weston can get called up as well. I think that's about scoring the goals in the B team. It would be good, but I think it's a bit of a stab in the dark. So to me, it's going to be Sakala tomorrow. I don't even think he's got a look in. The other thinking is he could maybe even try a Rebo there as like a false 9.
Man, he could die. It'll be interesting to see what he does, you know.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the away leg, you could have Sakala up there and just tell me gives everything he's got for an hour, then you could bring somebody else on to push up there and play the role, you know, and then see how it takes us. But we'll see. But you can't plan for Thursday, Andy, before tomorrow's out the way, can you?
No. I say honestly, I'm right up for this game tomorrow. I just want to see Rangers get out there and keep it going. Start hitting the rigging a few times here and there. We can go and get 3 or 4 tomorrow. That sets us up for what we need to do on Thursday. I mean, just come back in the tie. You know, we'll go over there and make sure that there's not enough damage. Hopefully, it'd be nice if we could come back with a win, but we could come back with a nice 1 each, or even a 1 goal deficit. We'll be all right at Ibrox, I'm pretty sure, because we'll lift the place, not 100%. So just stay in the tie, just said, like you said, we can't win it, but we can lose it if we're not savvy enough. So let's do the first. Be savvy, come away with the result. Keep your mind on the game, get it done.
Just remind everybody we will have a pre-match show at 11 a.m, Fox's favourite kick-offs time. Tomorrow, a pre-match show at 11 a.m, building up to the Motherwell game. We'll be joined by Port Bear. Okay, thanks for the call, Colin. Great to hear from you, mate.
No problem, mate. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I hope to hear from you again. Andy,
no
speak
problem,
to you soon, mate. Maybe catch you tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Enjoyed it as always do. So everybody stay safe, and we'll look forward to tomorrow.
Peter, pleasure as always, mate.
Good to speak to you all. Thanks again. I'll probably know in the pre-show I'm working in the morning. We'll be rushing a bit to finish.
Oh, I know it's early, mate. You may have to start your paper out early, mate. Know what I mean?
I wish it was that.
Speak to you soon, Peter.
Speak to you later. Cheers again.
Last word for you, Billy.
Well, listen, Ox, I can't thank you enough again, mate, for asking me on the show. Thoroughly enjoyed it, buddy. A big shout out to Bridgeman for being my wingman there. Thanks to Fox and the technical team. Callers have been superb, mate. A big shout out to all the listeners again, all the Rangers fans there. And once again, mate, a special mention to Andy Gorham. Get well soon, goalie, and come on, the Rangers tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, it's over to you, Bridge.
Oh, what can I say? A marvellous night, wonderful night, Oxchair. Well done to yourself and your the team there, and of course a big shout out to Billy for helping me out there. Can I just say, can I repeat what he said about Andy Gorham? Think well for him. So for me, the other Rangers fans all over the world, in particular Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one is massive game tomorrow, biggest game of the season. We need to go out there and do it. Come on, Rangers, just do it for us. And to everybody, keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers need us, and so they do. Keep it going.
Thanks to Blue Star. Peter, Andy, and of course Colin, Billy and Bridgeman for doing the show, Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals, everybody listening. We'll be back at 11 a.m. tomorrow with a pre-match show. We'll be joined by the one and only Port Bear. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and speak to you all tomorrow. Take it away, Old School Blue.
His story, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club, a debt we owe, we cannot pay, those gallant pioneers, a legacy they did bestow, we shared down through the years. To Moses and those fine young lads, our gratitude we'll show. We'll sing our song with heart and voice, and let the whole world know. The Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club. Come join as one and toast to all who share our history. Toast William Struth, a noble man, I'm sure you will agree. Lest we forget our absent friends, they watch from up above. In life and death will always be with Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club.